Live now. Just like that. There we go. Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to Virtual Happy Hour again. I am Rayna from Garden District Bookshop, and this is
Caroline. Hello.
Hi. Yes. Oh my gosh. I don't have a drink this evening. I'm sure all of you have heard that the hurricane came through New Orleans a couple of days ago, and a lot of us are still without power. So that's actually both of us. At my house, I don't have any power. Caroline's also without power. So I'm here at the bookstore. And Caroline, where are you hiding out?
I'm at mi madre's house.
Yeah, so you've even flown out, not flown, but like you got out of the city, right?
I have very little faith that our power will be turned on anytime soon. So yeah, we decided it best to just flee.
Yeah. So we are both kind of hiding out, and I brought a bunch of books to recommend to everyone, but I forgot a drink. So this virtual happy hour is very dry for me today. But Caroline has her glass of wine, so
I'll drink for the two of us.
Yes, excellent. It's a deal. So tonight we are going to be offering tons of book recommendations for everybody. And if you at any point you need a book recommendation, type it in the comments and we will see those and we will help you out. This year, especially with COVID and the post office doing its crazy stuff, it is taking longer than ever for us to get the books. And then if we need to ship them out, for us to ship them out to you guys. So this year, especially, it is important to get your book purchases done early and your book orders in now so that we can get them to you in time for the holidays and you can get those gifts to who you need to give them to. So if there's anyone on your list, tell us a little bit about them, who they are, and we will recommend a book for you. But to get us started, Caroline, do you have like a type of reader that you would like to recommend a book to?
Well, I had down, let's see. I just have a couple of good gift books, maybe for someone who likes humor in your life or movies. So Lindy West, her latest book just came out a couple weeks ago. It's called Shit, Actually. And it is her reviewing films from the past couple decades. But she has a very funny voice. She's very witty. And I've read a couple of her other books where she does have a couple essays on films, and they're always great. She'll give you some insights that you maybe didn't think of when you watch the movies, and that makes you see and watch the movie differently whenever you read it. So I think if you have anyone who likes pop culture or film or just funny books, it's a really good one to get, which I feel like has got to be a lot of people. I feel like I recommended this one last time too, but Wow, No Thank You by Samantha Irby is another good humor book. We have both of those books at the store. Yeah, she's so funny. She writes on a couple of my favorite TV shows too. Tuca and Birdie and Shrill. So you already know this. She's got the humor background. So those ones, if you want to lighten someone's holiday, get them something to laugh at and with, then those are good. Those are good books.
And I have to say too, the Samantha Irby books especially, they are great on audio as well because she reads them herself. So if you have somebody in your life who loves audiobooks, definitely check out Libro FM. They are a digital audiobook company similar to Audible, which I'm sure everyone has heard of. But the difference is Audible is owned by Amazon. And Libro FM, they partner with indie bookstores like us and other bookstores around the country. And we get a percentage. If you purchase an audiobook through Libro FM, we'll get a percentage of that audiobook sale. So it's just like purchasing a digital audiobook from us. So definitely check out Samantha Irby's in physical copies and also on Libro FM.
Yeah. And I also one more for comedy fans. So we do still have a couple copies of Is This Anything by Jerry Seinfeld, which are signed, which I know so many people are huge fans of Seinfeld. And I think receiving that would be a really big deal to some people. And it's like front to back, front page to back page, it is just filled with unreleased stand-up he has. So as you're reading it, and I'm sure it's on audiobook too, so it would basically be like listening to a very long stand-up special by Jerry Seinfeld, and it's signed. So I think that would be a really cool gift to give somebody.
That would absolutely. And yeah, we do still have, I think we've got quite a few, maybe like 8 signed copies left, I think, because I think there's still some. I can just glance them in the back room so you can just sort of glance over to the shelf. I think there's still a few on the shelf too. And absolutely, any comedy fan or Seinfeld, the show fan, is going to like something like that. And I think like even comedians themselves and true like real stand-up comedy fans would like it, even if they're not huge fans of the Seinfeld, like the show, because like you said, it is all this. It's all of his sort of unreleased things he's been toying with, things that didn't quite make it into the special. You know, he's telling you the story behind the joke and then the joke, and that's the tagline is, you know, well, not the tagline, but the, you know, the title, like, is this anything? Like, let me tell you this joke. Do you think that's anything?
No,
and so the whole, yeah, exactly.
And like flipping through a couple of pages, I read a few pages of it, and even if you don't have the audiobook, you can still hear his voice exactly how he delivered these lines. So it's really fun to read. It's just, I think it would be great for anybody. Yeah, who's a big fan of comedy. And
That's
I feel like
funny.
people need some lightness in their lives right now. So I think it's a good book.
Yeah, definitely. It's a good, keep everything a little lighter, escape. Hope says it's hard to hear you, Caroline. I don't know if you have. I
can get closer. Oh. I don't have any earphones to connect to my computer. I unfortunately left those at home, so.
I can hear you better. Hope, can you hear Caroline better now that she's a little closer? So I would think so. Oh, yes. Libro FM does have Is This Anything? And it is narrated by Jerry Seinfeld himself. So definitely. And I'm putting links to all of these in the comments. So you can go you can follow all of these links, and they'll go either directly to our website where you can purchase the book, or if we're talking about the audio, I'll link them straight to Libro FM. So you can get them easier that way. And you know, you were saying that like it's easy to, even if you're reading the print book of Jerry Seinfeld's book, like you can hear his voice saying it.
You know where like the inflections are, and like it's you'll know what it sounds like.
Some people are just like that. I've read, I think all of William Shatner's, like he has 2 or 3 biographies or autobiographies, memoirs, and all of them, you hear him saying it, whether you're listening to the audio or you're just reading the print book, you can
That's
hear
the best. That's always, you know, a strong voice in an author, which is really important. So
absolutely. And those 2 people, like William Shatner and Jerry Seinfeld, like you've heard them talk so much that it's just those voices are ingrained in your head. I think it's like a cultural literacy thing. Everyone knows it. I just wanted to say again, if you're just now joining us, we are here to give you book recommendations for anything you need for kids, husbands, cousins, friends. Tell us a little bit about the person that you are thinking of buying a book for, and we will give you a recommendation for the books. You can just type it into the comments anytime to do that.
Do you have a specific reader in mind whenever you made the list?
Okay, I do. So I have a couple of people that I was thinking, like, my son is turning 14, and I was at that age, and I was super into poetry. I was very like, oh, I read all the poetry, you know.
And your feelings.
I'm so into my feelings. Writing in my journal. I'm writing these elaborate, like these wonderful poems I thought were amazing, and now I don't so much want to read them again from my journal. But if you have somebody in your life who is either starting to get into poetry, or maybe you want to share poetry with them, but they're reluctant to, this book just came out, Poems to See By. And Julian Peters is a comic book artist. And what he did is he took a bunch. There's been like 50 poems in here from everybody, like Langston Hughes, Carl Sandburg, Yeats, Maya Angelou, all these people, and the poem is in here, but then also the he did drawings to go along with all of the poems, and he uses different art styles throughout, like different art styles for each poem depending on what he was feeling when he was trying to come up with drawings for that poem. And I think this was really a great thing for somebody who likes poetry already. They might like having the graphic depiction next to it, but also for sure somebody who you think should get into poetry a little more or is trying to get into poetry, that might be a really great book. I know you read some poetry, don't you, Caroline? Like, who's your...
Actually, no, I think the last time I like seriously read poetry was my John Keats capstone that I had in college.
Mm-hmm.
He had some really beautiful stuff though. I did not think I would like that class, but I loved that class. We read a biography of him and read his poetry in chronological order from I like the way that the biography would depict what was happening in his life, and then those poems themselves, which was a really cool way to look at poetry. I can't think of any collections that I have though. I'm gonna look into that. I think it's very meditative though.
You need
exactly
for you. I didn't even know
that. Exactly. But I think the poetry is really an easy way to get some daily reading in. If you just do like one poem a day or something and just kind of sit with it, I think it's a great way to maybe like clear your head or get some thoughts sorted out.
There are books that I never mean this as an insult. I actually always mean it as like, this is a great way to get some more reading in your life. But bathroom books. There are books that can be, you just consume them in like 5-minute sittings. And it's everybody's always asking. People say, oh, how do you read so much? Or how do I fit more reading into your life? Like, you get every freaking minute that you can find and you try and get some reading.
Yeah.
That's right. If you get 2 5-minute sessions in the bathroom a day, that is 10 minutes of reading you got in that you did not get in the day before. So take it where you can get it. And poetry books can sometimes be that way. Like, if you're just reading 1 or 2 poems in a sitting, fine, you're good. Like, and if it grabs you and you want to keep going, take it out of the bathroom. By all means, read it, keep reading it. But if you can only get through 1 or 2 poems, you are still reading and you're still like have the time to think on it and all that stuff. So poetry
also
can be
cute decoration purposes too. If you have like a little collection of small poetry books, like maybe on your toilet, I think that'd be cute. Little book ends, that'd be adorable.
It's good. There was a window right in my bathroom in the last place that I was, and I did that. I had like 4 or 5 little books right up there, and it's just, I'm so sophisticated. My bathroom has books in it. they're like the decorative soaps of the literary world. Good.
I like that comparison.
So I have one more that I didn't actually prep you for this one at all. What if you like medical oddities or weird fun facts? I have a couple of books for that. I brought these from home. I loved both of these, and they're the first one came out in 2016. The second one came out in 2019, but they're both still available. And the first one is Unmentionables, which is the Victorian Lady's Guide to Sex, Marriage, and Manners. But it's full of like, it's humorous, but it's full of like these just crazy, like kind of old wives' tales things mixed with actual medical things they would do at the time or theories they had at the time. And, like actual stories of women who have done these things or went through them or something. And it's both informative, but also like tongue in cheek. It's funny. And the follow-up is by the same author, Ungovernable, The Victorian Parent's Guide to Raising Flawless Children. That one, you will enjoy if you do not have children, but you will love if you do or have had children, because there's some of the things in here and you're just like, there's no way. One part is like, oh my God, I can't believe they did that. And the other one is, I'd never be able to get away with that. Like those are your two options when going through this. But again, it's funny and it's got this sort of, it's got real history mixed with this humorous take on it.
I feel like it would be to just, wow, how far we've come for both of those books. And yeah, I think it'd just be appreciating the evolution of our society. Yeah, that'd be.
Mm-hmm. There's that too.
Nice,
yeah, there's a bit of that, and a couple of them in both books where you're like, oh, we haven't come that
far. Oh no, yeah, I would imagine so.
That's kind of, we still sort of do that. We just call it something different now. Something like that. But let's see. What about? I'm just gonna throw one out too. What about, we get this a lot in the bookstore. Gentlemen usually who only read nonfiction.
Oh, yeah. Like what nonfiction to read?
Yeah, like what's something good that you'd recommend?
Well, I would, if someone came up to me and says, I have a dad, uncle, cousin, whatever, that needs a good nonfiction, like I know they'd enjoy nonfiction, I would ask them if they are big fans of any certain musician, because I feel like so many musicians, like, big name musicians, either have an autobiography, a memoir, a biography, or a photography book on them. And I think those would be really good gifts if you know that someone is a fan of an artist or specifically a musician, then there's a very good chance that there's a book out there. And I think anyone would appreciate that, just learning more about that artist or just having it as a part of a collection. Again, like with the Jerry Seinfeld thing, I think adding to a fan collection is, a lot of people enjoy that, so
yes.
I would say those.
I just typed in, there's one that just came out this week, I think, the Peter Frampton book. I think just came out this week. I don't see the link popping up, so I'm gonna try that again with the link. But we have signed copies of that too. So
okay, perfect.
Yes. So if you know somebody who's big on music, rock and roll, Peter Frampton is specifically, now's the time to call and get that from us because it is signed. And we will be able to get copies, but once those signed copies are gone, we can't order signed copies again. And of course, for the holidays, signed copy is pretty good.
Why you need to get them now.
Exactly.
And also there's that newest Lenny Kravitz book too.
Yeah.
That Flea book is still on our shelves. Debbie Harry, Prince. There's a lot. And then again with the, like, say a photography book or something, I think those are good. See, if they're a big fan, they could use it as a coffee table book maybe to let everybody who enters their house know that they are a big fan and they can flip through it themselves, get all that enjoyment. I think it'd be a good one. But as for other nonfiction, I feel like I am pretty lost when people ask me about history books. I don't usually read nonfiction history books, but we do have a pretty extensive collection at the shop. So maybe if you narrow it down to what event or wartime they like, then we could help you out better. But yeah, I'm not. Yep.
That is not people who will only read Civil War books or only read World War II books. To be completely honest, I just feel like war is war. I understand if you want an exact battle, and by all means, we will find you the book. Like if you have somebody on your list that only likes one specific, sometimes they just like specific campaigns. They want to read everything they can find about the specific campaign during a war. We can definitely find you those, and there's plenty of them on our shelves.
It's always hard to add new books to that section because there are so many.
Right? Our nonfiction section is actually really stuffed most of the time. The truth is that just out there, our owner, Britton, is actually culling through the nonfiction section as we speak.
Wow.
That's what he was doing when I
Thank
came
goodness.
in. Finally, there'll be some space to put some new books in there because there's a lot of new books that have come out in the last couple of weeks. Things that had been put off, like their publication date had been put off from the spring or the summer, especially when COVID first hit. There were a lot of publishers who chose to hold those books. They had publication dates for the spring or the summer, and they were like, no, we're not going to put those out right now. They're going to wait and see what happens with COVID. And it's just been, as we all know, going on and on and on. So a lot of these books that are coming out right now were supposed to come out in the spring and the summer of this year. And so we have a ton of new stuff on our shelves all the time.
To add to the two that you had recommended, the book Who Ate the First Oyster, I know that one's been flying off our shelves a lot, and it sounds fascinating. It's like people throughout history who are the first to do something odd that you probably wondered about, like who was the first person to eat an oyster or to like wear pants or yada yada, whatever. It's probably in that book. And I know a lot of people would be interested in knowing the like history of certain facets of our culture. So I think that would be another good one.
I love those types of questions because it's true. Like I have thought that exact question. Who opened up an oyster the first time and went, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to see what happens if I eat that. I would definitely not have been that guy. But
I absolutely would not.
Yeah, exactly. But somebody was. And that's a fascinating book. There's another book that came out a few years ago called What If? And it's in the same vein. It's like if you asked questions like, what if you tied, 100 helium balloons to a lawn chair? Like, what really does happen?
Oh, yeah. Okay, I know which one you're talking about, yeah.
What if I could really throw a football all the way to China? Like, what are the odds? How fast does it have to go? Like, what's the trajectory? All of these types of things. It's kind of that in the same vein, if somebody is interested in that kind of weird fact, fun fact sort of thing. What if is another.
That's by the same author as How It's Made, right? Or what is
yeah, it's things. Hold on, let me look it up and see. It's
not
How It's Made. It is Randall. It's Thing Explainer.
Yeah.
And there's another one he has called How To: Absurd Scientific Advice for Common Real World Problems.
It's How To. That's the one I was thinking of.
Yeah. All of those are just sort of fascinating for that type of reader. That's just like, what are these weird facts? Or what would happen if I do this? Or I wonder how this thing works. I think Thing Explainer, too, is good even for adults or for younger audiences, like a teenager or something that is interested in how things work. It's a little bit more mature than a kid's book, a book you find in the kids section, but it has a lot of diagrams and everything, so it would be easier to understand than something that was like really technical, scientific.
For someone who has shown interest in like engineering of some sorts, I think that would be good for them to explore that more.
Definitely. So again, I'm just going to repeat. You're about halfway through. So if anybody has a reader that they would like a book recommendation for, type it in the comments, and we will give you recommendations for that type of reader. Just tell us a little bit about them, and we will come up with a book. That is literally my favorite thing to do working at a bookstore. Is when people come in and they either need a recommendation for themselves or for someone else, and you just know a few things about them. You learn what's something else that they read that they liked, and they're going to the beach. Okay, those two facts, I can find you something. It's like a scavenger hunt. I love it. So, what category, what like genre of book do you read most often?
Definitely fiction. Right now, I am reading for my book club, Future Home of the Living God. I don't have the cover because I left it at home, but Louise Erdrich, it's really kind of too resonant of what's happening in the world right now. It is depicting like a worldwide biological disaster, basically, that is not fully known. Sources like, the reputable news sources of the world don't give the full coverage of what's happening, / it's kind of unexplainable to some extent. But the main character, our heroine, she gets pregnant during a biological disaster. And it's her reconnecting with her birth mother. She was born of the Ojibwe tribe, but was adopted by rich white people in Minneapolis. So this is her meeting up with her mother and kind of her big journey into motherhood. It's really good. You would think it would be heavy, but it's really funny. Her characters are very vibrant, and the dialogue is hilarious. They're very quick. But I would definitely recommend that one. But I definitely read fiction most. But I will I make myself read nonfiction every so often. Right now, I'm reading The Wretched of the Earth as my nonfiction read.
The Wretched of the Earth. I do not. Mm-hmm. I don't know what that one is.
It's like an anti-colonial book. It was big in it's by Franz Fanon. He is a French author, and it's like a psychological analysis of colonialism.
Gotcha. I see it. Yeah, well, that is heavy. That sounds very heavy. So not only you don't read nonfiction very often, but when you do, you're going all in.
That's why I'll read them both at the same time, so I can switch it out whenever I need a break from the nonfiction.
Yeah, a lot of times I'll do similar. Well, I don't usually read them at the same time, but if I read a nonfiction or a particularly heavy novel, my next one will be something light. I'll read a YA, or I'll read, something more people would come a beach read or something, just something that I don't have to spend a lot of thought on, but is very entertaining. And then I can dive back in to more heavier stuff, but I've got to break it up. Yeah.
I also did read during whenever we didn't have power the other night. I recently got the newest graphic novel of the Avatar series they released.
Yeah.
And I will read YA stuff too to break up what I'm reading. And for anyone, and I know we talked about this last time when we had our last Booksellers virtual happy hour. Mm-hmm. We talked about the Avatar series, and those graphic novels are great for your kids if they're into Avatar, because it extends the storyline from where it ends, and it answers some questions that you really want to know, and it's just good. It's a good story, good characters. So we can order those.
Yeah, let's see. Avatar, the Avatar series. I'm gonna type. This comment has. Of course. Yeah, that link that I just posted is to all of the Avatar books that we have. So you'd have to pick through that one to find the one that you want, but that'll let you look at them and see them.
Or any graphic novels for kids.
Graphic, yeah, those are. I love when the book, whether it's a graphic novel or not, works with the TV series or the movie or something. That it's not a direct not word for word, but a direct retelling. But if you read the book and watch the show, and then the graphic novel, watch the show, that they will continue telling the story. I love that. And I will say this: I don't know if I've ever said this on Virtual Happy Hour or not, but the Witcher series of books, if you have played any of the video games or if you watched the TV show, the books and the show and the video games all are in chronological order. So you read the first 2 books and then play the first video game, and then you read like the 3rd book and then play the next video game. And then yes, they don't retell. They go together. So if you do you get all into the world, you've got to read like all 7 books, play all 3 video games, and then watch the TV show.
And so interactive.
Mm-hmm. And part of the TV show, like the first part, does sort of get you up to speed. So if you haven't done anything else, you're not completely lost on the TV show. So the first half like gets you up to speed, and the second half adds to the world. So
I think the next season comes out soon, or is already out
soon.
So if you know of a big Witcher fan that either plays the video game a lot or watches the show.
Yep, the Witcher series of books. If they have not read the books, but they play the video game or have watched the show and liked it, definitely get the books and start with the first one. And I haven't met a person who is really into the TV show or the video game and started reading the books and did not like them. Everyone is like, oh my God, I didn't even know this existed. And it's so...
It'll enhance your playing or your viewing. Like it can't... I don't think it would negatively impact your experience with that world and characters. So
exactly. And it's from... Oh my gosh, I'm blanking on where. Poland. Okay. It is so popular in Poland that when the president of Poland visited President Obama a few years ago when he was president, he brought him a copy of the first Witcher.
Really? I love that. Like, this representation.
Yep.
That's awesome.
That tells you exactly how big of a deal the Witcher series is in Poland.
That's cool.
Oh, we have a recommendation. Okay, we have a question. My friend reads all the time, but he only reads mystery authors. He needs to branch out. Got any suggestions?
Okay, let me pull up my Goodreads. So, like, I guess you would still want some kind of mystery element, but not necessarily in the mystery genre, if I am getting that correct, which there are books out there. So let me just see.
Absolutely. I actually I have a book back here that I think would work for that too. This book does go in the mystery section, but I think it's got more like psychological, got some more thrillery elements into it, believe it or not. But it's called Florida Man by Tom Cooper, and he wrote The Marauders, which came out years ago, like 6-ish years ago. It came out a while ago. And this is his second book. He lives in New Orleans, but I believe he lived in Florida. He's from Florida. Don't hold me to that. But he did. but this is Florida Man, and it does have funny elements to it. It's not like as hilarious as like Carl Hyacin or something. He can be really funny. This has some humorous elements in it, but it's not like laugh out loud all the time. But it's a mystery, psychological mystery set in Florida. Oh, there we go. Definitely one that if your friend is reading mostly ones we've all heard of, like John Grisham or James Patterson or something like that, Tom Cooper would be a little bit of a branch out from there because he only has a couple of books. So he probably hasn't heard of or read Tom Cooper.
I have one good one by Susan Sontag. It's called Death Kit. That's what the cover looks like, but it is psychological and it keeps you hanging on. The main character suffers from insomnia, which usually is a given that it's unreliable narration and you really want to know what the heck is going on all throughout it. But that's a very good one that I would definitely recommend. And she is such a master. So if he likes that one, then he could also get into the rest of her work because she writes amazing stuff. So I think that would be good to see if he likes her, to branch out into what she writes. And then from there, finding, similar tastes and stuff.
What was the title of that one?
Death Kit.
Death Kit.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
Yeah.
Find the title. There it is. like, where did it go? Why is it shouldn't be hard to find? But all right, so I'll post a link to that one as well. There we go. Another one I have back here is Havenfall. So this is if you know anyone who likes fantasy and is looking for another series to start, this is a good one. The first one is out already. The second one comes out in March. And there's definitely going to be 3. There might be more than that. But I really loved this. The setup for this one is that we're set in the real world, but there's a hotel where all of the representatives from all of the other dimensions can come to the hotel, and that is where once a year they come for like a week and they do all of their negotiations there. It's like this neutral ground. It's safe space. And we're following the family who is tasked with basically managing this hotel. And it's starting with, the idea of passing that down to your kids, because this is mom and the dad is there, and then the daughter is there, and she's learning the tricks of the trade, and something goes wrong, and then with the negotiations, how do you figure out who did what went wrong, who's at fault, does the hotel stay open, does the hotel close, all of those types of things. And it's really interesting because I've never read anything where it's totally set in our world, but in this hotel, it's all the rules are kind of bent and different, and it's this fantasy hotel where all these different creatures come. And that's really interesting.
And you can follow easily along with it. Like, it doesn't throw too much at you at once to where you'd have to sort through it.
No, see, that's one of the things that I really liked about it too. So
that's important.
I like reading fantasy and sci-fi, but I'm not big on the ones that take, like, if you take 100 pages to build your world, I'm sure it's an amazing and wonderful world, but I like the story to move faster. Yeah. So it's just not the type of fantasy or sci-fi I like to read. This is really great because it is all set in our world. They don't have to build the world. You understand how gravity works. You understand how all these things are. They're as a different, creature or representative from this other dimension enters the hotel. Then they take a moment. She takes a moment to explain who they are, what their, species is, and then we're in the hotel. So you don't need to keep explaining it because everything works the way you understand it to work inside this hotel. And I really. Yeah, I liked that a lot. It did make it a lot easier to follow than if we had been transported into another world, and then we'd have to learn all about how that world works and those people work.
I feel like that's mostly why people shy away from the fantasy genre, if they do, is because of that. So it's always good to know what books won't, drown you in weird words without proper context or whatnot. So it's good.
Yeah, this could also be a good intro to fantasy thing too, because if you haven't read a lot of fantasy, but you're interested in giving it a shot, this might be a good place to go for that exact same reason.
And since it is a series, I had that written down as one of the types of readers. So people who do love and follow series. I know we have the newest Hunger Games out and the newest Twilight out this year. So for someone that was back in the day when those were huge, were big fans of those series, I think that would be a good, if they don't have it, I think that would be something that they would really appreciate and if they haven't already got it themselves, because it would kind of take them back to that time and make them relive the world of that series. And I think that would be something special. So I think that'd be a good idea. And just any series, the latest book of whatever series, or the first book to get someone started in a good series that you like. Series.
Yeah. And I think you're right. With both the Hunger Games and the Twilight books, there was definitely a push of people who loved those books, and they were right there the day those books came out, right?
Yeah.
With these new books. But then you've got people like, I liked the Hunger Games a lot when it first came out, but I'm not beating down our door to get it the first day it came out. So you've got the first day this new book came out, right? So you've probably got a lot of people out there who you Hunger Games or did like the Twilight series when they first came out, but might not have chosen, especially during COVID and everything, to spend the $20 on that book right now. But those would, like you're saying, make great gifts for the holidays, because they're going to enjoy it. They're going to get it. They're going to love it. They're going to be so happy that you got it for them. But they just, right. Exactly. I mean, no, I didn't read the new Twilight book, but I have read the new Hunger Games book, and I loved every bit of it. It was good. Like, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's a YA book for sure, but at the same time, it's like I was back into the Hunger Games world. It's about General Snow, so it's telling you all about like the bad guy from the first books, and of course we learn why he acts the way he does and what his backstory is and all of that. And I could, if she came out with a new book every couple of years about the backstory from a different character from those original books, I would read it. I mean, I would absolutely do that.
Who knows when? I don't think they'll be making a movie version of Midnight Sun, but who knows when they'll be making the film version of The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. That's the title?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So if you're someone who likes to be up and up with the film adaptations, then I'm sure that in no time will be made too.
I wonder if they are.
Have
you heard about it?
No, but you know how much money those Hunger Games films made, so they're all about that money,
Well, and that's true. I mean, let's be real. I would watch it.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure there's a lot of Hunger Games fans that would definitely go out and watch that movie.
Mm-hmm.
So there we go.
And
all right. What else you got?
I was just gonna kind of steer the conversation away from exactly books, but like as another benefit of coming into the store and getting like knocking off a good bit of Christmas shopping. I mean, we don't just have books. We also have puzzle books. We have travel games. We have note cards. We have notebooks. We have coloring books. We have colored pencils. We have bookmarks. We have a bunch of things that would be good stocking stuffers. Or I think like a great gift combination is like a book and like a sweet treat, or a book and like a small plant, or a book and a little gift card. I think it's like a good pairing gift if you're not going to make it like your big gift. But also with our like signed books collection, I think those are good big gifts. Especially if someone's a big fan of a certain author and you come in and get one of our pricier signed books or special editions. But I think, you could get a lot of shopping done by just coming in or getting like the same book for multiple acquaintances or coworkers or whatever. But I think you'd be surprised at what you'd be able to get done if you come in and just look around for a little bit.
Yeah, and I mean, that's exactly, like, that's what I was saying. That's one of our favorite parts about our job is helping find the book for the reader on your list, or for you if that's, you're looking for a book. And some of the best, absolutely the best gifts that I've ever gotten are those pairing type gifts, like either a book and like a gift card, or the other way around. If you don't know the type of book they would like, you could get like you go down to Still Perkins. There's a coffee shop, for those who don't know, down in the rink here. You can go down to Still Perkins and get some of their like signature ground coffee, and then come up and get a $20 gift card, and you have now put together this like, this pairing that I would I would love. I don't know. I'm a reader, so any reader in your life, I think, would. And you're helping 2 small businesses. I mean, right now, I mean, to be perfectly honest, everybody, small businesses of all kinds are super struggling because much like most people, there was help right after COVID, and then that help went away, and now we're all here just, treading water, like a lot of us are personally, and we are professionally. So it is not just bookstores, although, I mean, we're obviously partial to indie bookstores, but like New Orleans has a great record stores. We were talking about music books. You could buy a music book and a gift card to Music Record, for example, and they're going to get music and a book, or vice versa. You could buy them the record that they are going to like and get them a gift card to the bookstore, so they can get whatever they want, different things like that. Those types of, I think, creative gifts that are helping out small businesses this year is definitely, it's kind of where I've always tried to shop as much as I can, but definitely going to spend more time doing that this year.
And like you were saying in the beginning with shipping, like the overwhelming amount of shipping that all of those carriers will have to worry about during the holidays, like they are already stressed out about that. And it's not just loads on like the companies and businesses, like it's not just the weight that you're putting on them, it's also the workers. They're going to be stretched very thin this holiday season. They're going to be working overtime, you better believe it. And it'll just be easier for everybody if you get your shopping done early and you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to scramble to get anything. You don't have to wait on carriers that are already overwhelmed, either like late packages or poor tracking of these packages. You don't have to worry about that if you go in person to your local stores and businesses and support them. And like with New Orleans, I know so many of our restaurants and like venues are already going under. So for businesses that you can support now that don't involve huge crowds or much contact, I think it's easy. It's so easy for you to just maybe walk down Magazine Street and pop into a few places, walk down Britannia, pop into the Rink and see what's going on. So yeah, there's a lot of benefits to doing that this year.
I'm going to put a link here. It took me just a minute to find it, but another great thing you can do from anywhere that you live that supports indie bookstores, and you can do it last minute. So if you forget and it's like 2 days before your holiday, you can do this. Libro FM has holiday like gift memberships that you can get. You can get them anytime. It's cool. Holiday themed right now, but you can get them anytime for a birthday or for anything. And you just click, and the email shows up with the code, and you can either have them send it directly to the person you're giving it to, or they can send it to you, and then you can repackage the email, and send it out to whoever it is you're giving it to, and they can get any of the books that Libro FM has, any of the audiobooks. So, and they can do that instantly.
I didn't know they offered that. That's awesome.
Yeah, and you can get you can just get 1 credit, or you can get 3 months, 6 months, or 12 months. You can get them a whole year membership to Libro FM for that. So there's it's a link to that. Yeah, all that. I have some more books behind me. Let me see what I have. What do I have? Oh, what about kids? Kids get Christmas presents, holiday presents.
Like young kids?
Well, I have these 2 books, so yeah, we'll do young kids first. These are 2 new books that came out just recently. If you know Goodnight Moon, which most of us do, and you know somebody who loves tractors or construction vehicles or cars, trucks, Goodnight Tractors is a nice play on Goodnight Moon, and it's full of all of their favorite tractors and big construction vehicles and all that stuff. There are little boys who are going to love this book.
I get that a lot where people are like, what do you have on trucks? And I'm like, we have a few things on trucks because little kids love trucks.
It's true. when my son was growing up, one of his friends, his mom would take them to a construction site, and they would sit outside of like the chain link fence of a construction site, and they would have lunch out of their car, and he would just watch the big, like the cranes and stuff. I loved every minute of it. So he's all grown up now, and there's no way he wouldn't even look at that book, but he would have loved it like 10 years ago.
I'm sure he remembers, though. He probably looks at them fondly, like, I used to love those.
Yeah, secretly. He's hit teenagers. Now he's not willing to discuss that, but secretly he does. Here's another one too, Goodnight Turtles. That's again based on Goodnight Moon, and it's all about different turtles. There's turtles kind of more like what we see here, and then there's turtles like big sea turtles, like you'd see at the aquarium. There's all different kinds of turtles in this book. So this is another one that I think little kids would like to get this holiday season or anytime. Who knows? They're a good price point. These ones are always a good, like they're like $9.95, so you can get those. Doesn't exactly.
We have such a big child book collection or children's book collection at the store, and some of them are so pretty, like the illustrations. And I can't think of any specific names, but if you come and look through them, I feel like if I had kids, I would love to buy them these books because the art is just like, I would just buy them for the art in the books. But I'm sure for a little baby looking through them, it must be very stimulating. And I'm sure they'd have very pleasant dreams after reading a book like that before bed.
I'll tell you this too, like those are the ones so far, at least, that I've kept. There's a few that my son loved and I read a billion times, so we keep those because it's sentimental. But then as you're going through them and slowly getting rid of books as your kids get older, like you keep those really beautiful ones and the ones you've read a million times. And then there's all these ones in the middle. You're like, oh, I guess I can give that to a friend or put that in a little free library. So there's one called The Night Gardener. I'm going to put the link to it in the comments right now. And that is a beautiful book. I don't know if you've looked through that one, but definitely look through that one.
It might be one that I'm thinking of. Oh, it's not, but this looks cool. Yes, it is. Yes, with the owl on the front. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep. That's one of them.
Really good one. So I'm going to follow along the lines of the construction vehicles because our other bookseller, Eugenie, who is actually working right now, so she can't be on virtual happy hour. But she has a nephew who loves construction vehicles, and she gave me all these as I was coming in. She's like, okay, if you have a little boy who loves construction vehicles, good night construction site. All of these, mighty construction site. This one comes with sounds, parents beware. If you want. You need to know what kind of book experience you want to have for the next 6 months until those batteries die. And then this one here, it opens up and reveals different construction vehicles. So those are definitely, that's I had a lot of construction cars. Oh, I'm dropping books all over the place. I didn't even have a drink. I'm dropping books all over the place.
Well, that's good. You dropped your computer if you did.
All right. So if anybody has anyone they would like us to recommend a book for, definitely type it in the comments. We will take your recommendations, and we'll take whoever, tell us a little bit about the person, and we will give you recommendations. Or if you have any other question about books or book selling or anything else, we got that.
I do have one more type of book that I had written down.
Go for it.
So when I was a teenager, I really loved fashion books and magazines, but I don't remember being gifted a good quality fashion book, But at the store right now, we do have that Lagerfeld one. That's the very long Karl Lagerfeld one. And then we also have one called Dior Moments of Joy. So if you know anyone, maybe obviously adults are included in this, but young adults, I feel that show interest in design or fashion, I think they would love a fashion book. And we could always order you something else as well. If you know they have a favorite designer or something, I think they would really appreciate being able to look through really good quality prints of what they like and just having that before them for reference or just like creative influence or anything. I think that would be good for the little creative you have in your life. Or
Absolutely.
again, like adult who likes fashion. You could definitely do that too.
I think a lot of times with kids or teenagers and they show an interest in fashion, people defer to magazines, which is great. Magazines are great and you can rip them out and tack them on your wall, and yeah, you can do that. But if somebody is like really interested in it, it's worth spending the little extra money to get them a nice, really nice book. First of all, they're going to get a lot more insight, information, history about the actual designer, how they did it, why they did it, what was happening in their life when they did the show, things like that. You're going to get real information about the designer, which anybody who's really into fashion and design is going to want that more in depth. And then, like you were saying, it's like, it's not just two pictures of the same thing. You're going to get in depth into that show or that design or exactly.
It's something that they can hold on to for a while. Like you're going to throw out magazines eventually, but they can carry that around with them for years and years. And I think they'd like having it on their shelf or coffee table or what have you.
Yeah, and that can definitely be something that they do. They carry around with them. It's not a throwaway gift.
Mm-hmm.
No one wants to think that any gift is a throwaway gift, but yeah, it's worth spending that extra time, and I think they would be very appreciative of it. And we have tons of stuff here to do that with. So I don't have. Those are all of the recommendations that I prepped.
I think I also exhausted my
like we could definitely do more. We need a personality. There needs to be like a website where you click it and it's just like random personalities, and then we're like, oh, that's we're gonna find a book for that person. But I'm not reading.
Sports. Sorry, this is like I feel like this was a one I did write down. The Peyton and Breeze one that we just got in.
Yes.
For any Saints fan or football fan, that's such an easy one to just come and get, and I'm sure they would love it.
Absolutely. And that one, we have plenty of copies. You can call us. You can even, if you order it from our website soon, website orders are, if we have the signed copy in stock, we're going to send you that. If we don't, obviously we'll just send you the unsigned copy. But right now we do have signed copies of Peyton and Breeze, and it is definitely I think a must book for any Saints fan, and would be even better for a Saints fan who's not here, I think, because they don't have the opportunity to be in all the Saints, the black and gold that happens every weekend and everything here. So they would love it. And also, like, I think just a general football fan, and maybe I think that because I'm a Saints fan and I think too much of Peyton and Breeze, but they're this amazing duo, coach and quarterback, I think, of like all time. So even if you're just a general football fan, you would like this book because it's really a look about them, but how their relationship and how they work together on the team and making the Saints, who they've been the last few years. So.
And actually, I was going to say that about the New Orleans books that we do have. I think those would be good gifts to send out to people who are either like from here or haven't had the chance to visit here this year for obvious reasons. Mm-hmm. I think those are good. Like we have, a whole section full of fiction, nonfiction, like photography books. We've got a lot of stuff that you could send out, and it could be another like good pairing gift. Like with that Peyton and Breeze book, give them some kind of Saints memorabilia or like accessory with the book, and
that's like gifts. The New Orleans books. You're right about that too. They make you can do great pairings with New Orleans books because you can have you could do like we have some really nice postcards that you can send as a postcard, or some of those you can just frame them. They're so, like, the art and the photography is so nice. But you could do something like that with a New Orleans book, or you can get something from totally somewhere else. Like Dirty Coast is another local company, for example. They make lots of t-shirts. They have tote bags. They have coasters. They have little koozies, different things. Like you can get anything price point all the way up to like a $45 nice hoodie, all the way down to like a $3 coaster, and pair that with a New Orleans book. And again, you've helped to independent businesses, and you've shipped that to a friend who loves New Orleans, but maybe they didn't come to visit this year because of COVID. They were unable to make their trip. That would be the perfect gift to send to somebody like that. And I also want to say, like, as we're wrapping up too, because it's getting to be 6 o'clock, don't be afraid to ask us for a book recommendation. I always, like, it's just not my personality to go up and talk to random people that are working at a store that I'm in. I don't know. It just makes me nervous most of the time. And I've been working really hard to get over that personally. But I have to say, from being on this end, like, I want you to ask me for a book recommendation. I want you, it is one of the fun things that we get to do. And if you can't come into the store, or you don't feel comfortable coming into the store still, that's absolutely fine. Give us a call. You can call, you can ask to speak to Rayna, you can ask to speak to Caroline. We are here. We will find you a book over the phone. We'll hold it for you. We're doing curbside pickup if you don't want to come to the store, or we will ship it out to you. And also contact us wherever you happen to be. Like, I feel almost like I'm begging, but I'm not. I'm trying to make it like it's accessible. Like, if you're on Facebook, send us a Facebook message. Instagram, Twitter, we're on all of those. If that's where you happen to be when you see when our business pops up in your feed and you think, I wonder if they have this book, just shoot us a message right there. I do the social media for the bookstore, so like I'm getting that message, and we will give you book recommendations on all of those channels. And if I don't have an idea for like a good mystery book, I'm like, I'm blanking. I was, oh, you know what? Let me check, and I'll get right back with you. And then I'll send text messages. This is what's happening behind the scenes. I'm sending text messages to other coworkers, other booksellers, going, okay, I need a book recommendation for this type of reader. And then we all get together and we come up with them. And then I'll get that information back to you. So we're here for you guys this holiday season, just as much as we're hoping that you're here for us. I think is where I'm going with that.
That community here. Hello.
Exactly. So I want to say thank you, Caroline, for joining me. It was kind of short notice. Our original guest for tonight, she had to reschedule, so she's actually going to join us the Friday after Thanksgiving. So Crystal Sims Cameron will be here. But I really appreciate you jumping on with me kind of last minute, Caroline.
Yeah,
and thank you to everyone who stuck with us. And like I said, if you need a book recommendation, call us, email us, message us. We are here for you. All right.
Happy Friday, guys.
Yes.